Hi everybody, it's Janet with Fruit of the Vine Art Studio here. Thank you so much for joining me this evening on our final episode of Vacation Bible School in July. I really appreciate you being here with me tonight. I want to introduce you to a couple of the friends that I have in my kids club. As you can see behind me, we've got lots of wonderful art. This is what we do. This is what we do here in the kids club. So if you're interested in that, I'd love to hear from you. Just drop me a message, leave me a comment. This is Spike. He's our mascot. Hey, thanks for coming by. Appreciate seeing you. And then this is Felix, and he's big on feelings.
Hi. We appreciate you being here.
Yes, we certainly do. Now, tonight, what we're going to do is we are going to do another little craft while we have a discussion. And tonight's discussion is going to be about what is love. Now, if you had the opportunity, you may have had to see the template. You may have gotten an opportunity to go ahead and print that out and maybe make your own paper plate template. So it's a very simple template. All you have to do is take your paper plate and fold it in half. That's the first thing. Okay, you fold your paper plate in half, just like this. And once you fold it in half, you're going to take a marker, or you can just take your scissors. You don't have to take the marker, and just cut it in half like that. And then the template has this bird's head. Right here's the head, and then there's this little top on it right there. There's the beak, and it comes down. And it just goes straight across, just like this part of the plate. We're going to cut this in half, and it goes straight down. So I'm going to do that part right now and show you, and then we're going to go ahead and get started crafting. So if you don't have your template, it's a very simple craft. We're just going to fold it in half, and then just cut across. Very simple, just like that. So now we're going to take this piece and just put it to the side for a moment. And we're going to take this piece right here. And we're just going to cut out this bird shape here. Just cut it around at the bottom, up a little bit. Give it a bit of a little pointed beak that comes down. Bring the beak back up. A small curve up for the head. And then you're going to go out about 3 scallops across. Bring the back of his head. And then down for the body. And then coming at an angle, just go straight down until you've got this shape right here. So this is about almost a fourth of that top of the paper plate. It's just cut across right there, goes at an angle, and you're just going to cut a little body, a curve right here, bring this up, go across 3 little scallops, come down, cut a little curve for the head there, a little beak that comes down, his little neck, and then his chest. Very simple. Now on this piece, what I want you to do is every 5th scallop, count them over, 1, 2, 3, 4, on the 5th one, I want you to put a dot. And then I want you to count over 5 more and put another dot. Count over 5 more and put another dot. Count over 5 more and put another dot. Continue counting over 5 more and put your last dot. Now you should have 5 dots. That's going to make 6 sections for us. So now what we're going to do is we're going to cut right around this hard edge. We're going to cut right across the top of the scallops, and when we get to where the dot is, we're going to curve down under the dot, and then back up. Under the dot, and then back up again. Go around, get to the fifth one, curve down, around, and back up again. And go around to the fifth one, down, curve, around, and back up again. Do that around each one of the dots. All the way. Until you get to this side. See how I cut out each of the little dots? And that's what it looks like now. It's got little scallops across the back of it. See the little scallops? Isn't that pretty? Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tilt you guys down. We're going to get started painting, and I'm going to start talking to you a little bit. How's that sound? I think it sounds like fun. I hope you're ready to craft too. Have you got your paper plate cut out yet? I'm giving you just a couple of extra seconds so that you can get all caught up with me here. There we go. Now I can see it. Hey, Steve, thanks for jumping on there and saying hi for me. I appreciate that. All right, so I'm going to tilt you down. Let me just get over here a little bit. And I'm going to tilt you down. And then I'm going to zoom in on my paper plate so that you can see what I'm doing. How's that? I think that looks pretty good right there. Okay, so now the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to do this one just a little bit differently. Normally when I'm painting with my paints, I end up taking the water and putting it all inside of my paints. And then I rub it all over my plate. Today I'm going to do it a little different. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to wet a section of my plate. Now, the middle of this, we want to go to the middle. So we're going to take it and fold it just a pinch right there at the middle part. So that it's just got a little pinch to it, just like that, okay? And I want you to take your brush and dip it in your water. And then I want you to make a circle that goes around the scallop, going from the middle out, just sort of like a big teardrop shape, going around just one of the scallops. And then dip into some dark green. And just bring it up here, right into this wet area that we've got. Okay? Now we're going to keep doing that, working all the way around each of our scallops with the dark green. We're going to wet it first and then just make it go just like this. Oh, I got to get you over here, don't I? Sorry about that. I thought I had you. Let me move this stuff. And I'll scoot over just a little bit. Move over, guys. I'm sorry, Spike and Felix. I got to scoot you over a little bit. I've got this in an odd angle today. There we go. Let me move my little body over here, too. That'll help some, huh? Okay, so, anyway, what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about love. Now, who loves pizza? I do. How about football? Or maybe video games? How we feel about things is different than how we feel about people, though, isn't it? I want you to think about the different relationships that we have with others. The love that we have for our parents may not be the same as the love that we have for our friends or even our brothers or our sisters. The love we have for our parents is going to be different than that. And how we treat someone we don't know, well, that might be a little bit different than how we might treat our neighbor. We know the neighbor, right? He lives right next door. We see him every day. But we don't always know all those people out there, and we might treat them just a little bit different because we don't know them, right? We are all God's children, and we are all very precious to Him. And even though there are many of us, He wants you specifically to come to Him even if you've lost your way. God is one of a kind, and he never gives up on his children. Today, we're talking about the truth that God is love. You want to know what love is? God is love. The word love is very confusing in today's world. People think they know what love is, but sadly, many are mistaken. Later, we're going to take some time to look at the biblical definition of love. Yeah, I'm liking how that's looking. You know, we're to grow more and more to be like Jesus every day by showing our love to others. God gives us numerous gifts, such as the ability to speak well, or spiritual understanding, or a heart for giving for others. You know, we're to use those gifts to share our love with others. That's right. As Paul spread the good news about Jesus, the church of Corinth argued about what was the most important to the Lord. Paul wrote in 1 Corinthians 13, he wrote a letter to explain to the church in Corinth that love is the most important of the spiritual gifts that God has given his people. Paul wanted the people to know that God gave his people gifts in order for them to encourage each other and not to brag about themselves and what they have. Paul explained this by saying things like, if I speak in tongues of men and angels, but have not love, I am like a clanging cymbal. What does that mean? That means that no matter what you do, you need to do it with love. If you don't do it with love, you're just like a big banging, clanging noise, just a big noise. You need to do it with love, whatever it is that you're doing. Do it with love. Now I'm using a lighter green. I'm going on the inside doing the exact same thing, and I'm using a light green. So I'm just making another circle here, but not wetting all of it, and then I'm getting some light green and bringing it in. And if it blends a little bit together, that's okay. We don't mind. Now, Paul then gave them a list that described what love is. And as we read through the list, we should realize that no one can really truly love like that except God, the only one who can love perfectly, patiently, selflessly, kindly, is God himself. We can do our best to be like God, though, and to be like Jesus, and to love with kindness and be selfless and have patience. Finally, love is the one thing that will last forever and ever. One day everything else is going to fade away and be gone. There's going to be no more prophecy or teaching. There's going to be no more anything else because God's people will be in God's presence. But there still will always be love. To help us understand more of the truth, we're looking at the ultimate way that God showed love to his people by sending Jesus to die on the cross for our sins. Everyone in the world thinks they know what love is. We use the word every day. But do we really know what it means? Our lesson today is found in 1 Corinthians 13. Now in verse 1, where Paul is writing the letter to the church, and he says that it is a good reminder for us every day to talk about love. Paul begins by saying that if you don't have love, you're like a clanging cymbal. You know that loud noise. Paul says without love, it doesn't matter how wise you are. If you don't have love, you don't have anything. What is love? Love is patient and kind. Paul said even if he gave everything that he has to feed the poor, that there wouldn't be an advantage or a reward, a profit, if he does that without love. I'm going to use yellow next. I'm going to just put it right here and fill that in with the yellow. Do that in the middle of each one of them. Now, what Paul is saying there is to share and give with the right heart and to do it with love. You need to do it freely. You want to not be resenting the fact that you're giving this. You want to do it with love. You want to give it with your whole heart. You want to do it wholeheartedly with love. And that's what he's saying that you should do. It should be patient, and it should be kind, and it should be done freely and not with resentment. And love does not envy. It doesn't parade around itself, and it's not puffed up. It's not jealous of what others have. And if you have things that others want, you shouldn't make your friends jealous just because you have something that they don't have. That's not showing love. You shouldn't make people jealous and envious. You should be glad for what you have. Love isn't proud or big-headed. Now this also means boasting and bragging. Accept what you have and what God's given you and be happy. Not, I want this and I want that. That's not showing love. That's showing selfishness. Love isn't mean or rude. It doesn't behave badly. Love is not impolite and mean. It doesn't do things that you're going to regret or that you're going to feel ashamed of later. Now I'm going to add a little bit of blue to the top of it. What that means is you need to care about others. Use this pretty blue right here. Love does not seek its own. Love doesn't look out for your own interests or just all about yourself. And I put a blue dot right in the middle. Then that also includes when we're talking about that you need to care about others and that you don't just look out for your own interests and care about yourself. That means also things like just like grabbing things from other people or just interrupting someone when they're talking. Love cares about other people's needs too. You have to be aware of others and you have to show compassion and love for them. Just keep adding your little blue dots. Love is not provoked. Now that means that love doesn't become angered easily. Love is forgiving. Take time to let your temper cool down. Don't hold grudges. Learn to control your temper. Love thinks no evil. Love thinks good thoughts. It doesn't rejoice in equity. It rejoices in the truth. And equity is sin, or doing sinful things that God doesn't like. And just the opposite is to be happy and do what is right. Now, love bears all things. It accepts and protects. We're going to sit this off to the side for a moment, and we're going to get this piece now. And we really only need to color the front half here. So just from right here up, we're going to wet it up. Except the beak. And then we're going to get into some dark blue. Now, as I was saying, love bears all things. It accepts, it protects. Love believes all things. Love trusts. Love hopes all things. For with love, there is always hope. Now you want to cover that all the way up to the top here. Then we're going to add just a little bit of black right on his beak. Getting an eye. Let that spread a little bit, I guess. And I'm going to run 3 little lines right up through there. Where's me a little paper towel? There it is. I should have let his eyeball dry, huh? I'm going to take that off for just a second. All I got to do is just take my paper towel and dip into it. And then instead of that, I want his eye to show up right. So I'm going to get my marker. And just draw him on an eye. There we go. That works right. Now we've got that part done. And we're still talking about what all love is. Love never fails. Love puts up with things. Love puts up with things that it never gives up. And if you love someone or something, you never stop trying. Love is patient and willing to listen and takes the time to pay attention. Now I'm just going to go around the 3 little bumps at the top here on my peacock's head. Maybe should have done that before I... No, it looks fine. That looks fine. Okay. You know, love is patient and willing to listen, and it takes the time to pay attention. And if you look at today's Bible verse, under verse 13, 1 Corinthians, 1 Corinthians 13, under verse 13, there's faith, hope, and love. Faith is believing in Jesus and knowing that He is going to do what's best for us. And hope is knowing that we will be with Jesus in heaven. That's hope. Hope is knowing that we will be with Jesus in heaven, and God is love, and love never ends. We have faith in what Jesus taught us, and we know that if we do everything He commands, we will go to heaven with Him. But now the greatest of these is love. Why? Finally, the Bible tells us that love keeps no records of rights or no records of wrongs. When we look at all of these descriptions of love, we must remember that God's love and how it points to His greatest display of love ever. Now what I'm doing is right there where I pinched it and fold it back in half, right where I pinched it. We're going to cut up just a little bit. Okay? Now before I do that though, we're going to go over again. Where'd my little words go? Here they are. Exactly what is love? And when we look at those descriptions, we need to remember that it points to God's greatest display of love ever. The truth that God sent Jesus in love because he loves us. And Jesus didn't selfishly keep himself away, but he sacrificed himself. And he put our need for salvation above everything else. Jesus coming to earth and dying on the cross is the greatest example of love ever. And I challenge you to put your name in the place of the word love in the scripture and see if those words describe you. And I challenge you to keep going and see how you can improve on loving others. What are some of the ways that we can stay close to God and show him that we love him as well? Well, read the Bible, know his words, pray, spend some time worshiping him, sing songs about him. Remember, love thinks good things, and if you're thinking good things, you're going to do good things. Slow down and see if there's something you can do to help someone. You can show your love by how you act and how you treat others. I'm going to add some words onto here. Now you can take your marker and write the words on yours. What is love? Love is kind. So I'm adding the word kind right in the eye of that one. What is love? Love is patient. It's still just a little bit wet. I'm hoping it's going to stick for a second here. Now, the Bible verse, 1 Corinthians 13:13, and now, abide, faith, hope, love, these three. But the greatest of these is love. Love is strong. Love is trusting. You can you can write it on there, or you can print out the words and glue them down if you want. I'm just doing it this way to save time for us tonight. Love is loyal. So those are all the things that love is, and I hope that when you look at your little peacock, that it reminds you of all the things that love is. And where is that perfect love? That perfect love is God and Jesus. Just take where you slit it, slide that right in it, and then we're going to move our little bird's head over just a little bit. We need to turn this right here on the back to where that's not sticking up like that. And then we're going to take a little piece of tape, put that back on there, and just stick him to the back. Right here. And one on the other side. A little piece of tape right there. Fold him over just a little bit. And then we've got our beautiful peacock here. Oops, I've got him way out of there, don't I? Hope you guys have seen most of this. I'm not sure if you've had most of it on here or not. So what is love? Love is loyal. Love is hopeful. Love is trusting. Love is strong. Love is patient. And love is kind. We have a beautiful peacock to remind us of that each time we see it. we can remember what is love. I hope you've enjoyed this Vacation Bible School episode. It's the final episode of the year. And I hope you've had as much fun creating and listening as I've had sharing and showing. And even though it is the last Vacation Bible School of this year, you know, guys, the fun never really stops. You can always come back and rewatch the episodes. Try making all the crafts. Here we've got the fruit of the spirits. Here we've got the quail from the manna from heaven. And then, of course, we've got our armor, our helmet, our sword, the armor of God. We are prepared, and now we've learned all about what love is. I do hope that you guys have enjoyed this as much as I have. I want you to go back, rewatch the episodes, try making the crafts. I hope that you continue to study your Bible. I want you to go to church. And I also want you to come back and join me again next July for another Vacation Bible School. Thanks for being here, guys. Bye.